In this problem, they want you to find the perimeter of this rectangle, and notice that we're dealing with mixed numbers and fractions. So I'm going to show you how to solve this type of problem. The first thing to keep in mind is that this is a rectangle. And in a rectangle, one of the properties is that the opposite sides will have the same length. So notice we have 4 sides, but they only give us the length of this side and this side. So even though we don't know the length of this side, we know it's a rectangle. And we know that if this is 2 1/5 millimeters, that means that this side has to also be 2 1/5 millimeters as well. And for the same reason, the opposite side of this one here will also be 3/4 millimeters. And then to find the perimeter of the rectangle, all you're going to do is add 4 sides together. So this is my setup. I added all 4 sides. And one thing I'm going to recommend to keep it organized is these mixed numbers, I'm going to split them up. So the 2 1/5, I'm going to rewrite it as 2 plus 1/5 because these are equivalent to each other. And as we do the problem, you'll see why I split it up. So you can see I split up all the mixed numbers here. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to combine the whole amounts. So my whole number here is 2 and 2. I add those 2 amounts and I get 4. And I'm going to bring down the remaining fractions. Next, we're going to follow the same process that we did before in terms of combining fractions with different denominators. You're going to first find the common denominator. In this case, my common denominator will be 20. To rewrite the 5 into a 20, I got to multiply these by 4. To make this 4 into a 20, I got to multiply it by 5, so I'll do the same to the top. And for the same reasoning, I'm going to do times 4 here, and this will be times 5 and times 5. And then my next step, I'm just going to rewrite these. And you can see here, this became 4/20, 15/20, 4/20, and 15/20. So my next step, now that I have common denominator, is I'm going to combine these fractions together. And after combining these, I get 38/20. Now keep in mind that in this problem, it says to write your answer as a mixed number in simplest form. So I have to fix this. You can't have a mixed number where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. That's improper, so we have to rewrite this. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna split this up because this becomes improper when the top number is greater than the bottom number. So what I can do is rewrite it like this. 20 out of 20, that's the most you can take out of this, in terms of keeping your fraction so it's not improper. That's the maximum number it could be. Whatever your denominator is, that's the most you could put into it. And then I'm going to rewrite another fraction here. So if I take 20 out of 38, right, if I want to do that calculation on the side, I'm going to have 18 left over. So I'm going to put the 18 here. And I can see that 20/20 plus 18/20 is the same thing as 38/20. So this is the same as adding these two together. Now, the reason why I split this up is because now I'm going to be able to rewrite it as a mixed number the proper way with a proper fraction. Because you can see 20/20 will become one whole amount. That's just 1. And then we still have the 18/20 left. Now we can add these two whole amounts to get 5 plus the 18/20. And we're almost done. The instructions, they want simplest form. So that means we have to reduce that fraction. In other words, eliminate common factors. This goes back to what we practiced before. So if I put 18 and 20, if I were to do their prime factorization, this would be 2 times 9. That's prime. And I can split this up into 3 times 3. And then the 20 is the same as 4 times 5. 5 is prime. And then the 4 I can split up as 2 by 2. So I'm going to rewrite my fraction in terms of this. So if I keep the work over here just to stay organized, 18/20, 18 is the same as 2 times 3 times 3. And then the 20 is the same as 2 times 2 times 5. And then by eliminating the common factors here, 2 and 2, you can see that there's no other common factors. So when I multiply these back together, you get 9/10. And that would be my simplified fraction for 18/20. I go back to my answer here. The 5 and 18/20 will become 5 and 9/10. So that's my final answer. It's a mixed number in simplest form. And don't forget, this is all in terms of millimeters. So they said to include the correct unit in your answer. So my final answer will be 5 and 9/10. And then this will be the unit of measurement, which will be millimeters.